Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mal and we are here on Chilligan's Island. I'm so excited because I'm finally bringing the very first build of the island. As you can see, we're standing in front of the airport and we're going to be building up the entrance all the way up to resident services. So you can see a few squares of in-game path laid out in various places. That is just where I've kind of mapped out where I'm going to put down other paths from codes that I have found. And I'm actually going to erase the in-game path as we go, as you can see here. So getting started, I am working on a median. How it's going to pan out is from the airport, there's going to be like a sidewalk. Then going up towards resident services, there's a one-way street. This median that you see me working on here, a one-way street going in the opposite direction, and more sidewalk leading up to resident services. So I'm going to put the codes for all of the paths that you see me use in this video. So if you see something you like, check the description box and it should be there. If I forget anything, just ask me in the comments and I'll be sure to update that for you. So again, just working on this median, and this is actually going to be a lot of pathing. I don't have much of I guess a theme for this island. I just have a lot of ideas that I'm trying to kind of put together and see if they work. So we're gonna have kind of this in-town area with streets and sidewalks and all that good stuff, your shops, museum. There's going to be more of a natural area where I'm going to have the campsite. Hopefully I can make that work out, get some views and water features, waterfalls, all that kind of thing. There will be another area that will have my house. I don't know if I want to do that as a farm or just have my house separate and then a farm area with an orchard and then a full-on neighborhood where my villagers will live. So that is the plan for now. I'm hoping that my ideas aren't too big for my island and everything will fit and work, but we will see as we go along. So here I'm putting down the actual street path. I've gone around the median and now I'm working up and around resident services. You can see some of those kind of where it goes out on the sides, each side of resident services, kind of an inset. And that is, those are going to be kind of crosswalk areas. So from resident services, like this side that you see right here, this is going to be going over to a park. And then on the left-hand side of resident services, that's going to be closer to the beach. There's going to be a parking lot. And then directly behind it, that's going to be where the museum is. We'll talk about that area when we get to it, but that's the plan for now. So still putting down more of the pathing. As you can see, I did a 2 square wide area for the one-way streets. It looked like with the cars that we got in the 2.0 update, that width seems to work best with getting those cars in an actual lane. And then on the sides, it goes into the 2-lane streets. And I did 3 square wide for those. And I'm actually going to put the all the lines, the details and things in there a little bit later. So one thing I've noticed while doing this, my build style seems to be kind of back and forth. Like, you've seen me go from the sidewalk pathing to the street pathing and back again. And that's just kind of how I work. If I get to a point where I get an idea and I don't want to forget it, I move on to something else. Or if I get stuck in an area, like with some of these sidewalks, there are a lot of different pieces, and this is my first time using it. In fact, I don't really use codes, so this is kind of a first for me. I'm still kind of trying to figure out how everything works and where everything needs to go. So if I got stuck in a place and needed to kind of think about it, I moved on somewhere else. So I hope the back and forth doesn't bother you too much. I'll try to work on that. So moving on to later in the day, I have filled in a lot more of the pathing, so now I'm working on the entryway. I put down a couple of shrubs and some lamp posts, just to kind of light your way stepping off the dock. I'm putting down some fencing all around. There will be beach access. You can see it right there. So I will have a little open spot there to get down to the beach, but for the most part it will be surrounded by that iron and stone fencing. So moving up, that was the entryway. Now we've moved up to resident services. I'm going to put that all the way around resident services as well. You can see I still have a space at 1 square all the way around resident services that is still grass. That is where I'm going to be putting trees. You can see that right here. Now I'm starting off with a tree in each corner and a tree around all the entryways. So just trying to figure out spacing. So now we're moving on to some actual items. I love these lampposts with the flags. I decided to do the hanging baskets, and they're yellow now, but those will actually change color. I'm not sure if I did that before or after filming, but I did change them to the blue color. We've got the trees here in the middle, some more lamp posts, and just checking the angles to see how everything looks, and kind of centralizing everything, spacing. And I liked how this looked. I thought it was a nice little look for the area. So again, with the back and forth, we're back to the trees. This is me actually figuring out that the spacing that I wanted is not going to work out, because once you get towards the center, yeah, it's not evenly spaced. So you can see that hole there. But I figured that out later, and you'll see it in just a bit. So going back to the streets, this is where I am laying down lines for the middle of the road and sectioning those off into 2 lanes. So I'm going to do that, and then actually in that area I'm standing right now, there's where I'm going to put some lines for a crosswalk, and should get to that in just a second. I did do these crosswalk lines all the way across. I ended up erasing the ones that are kind of in the insets. I thought it looked to be a little too much. So now they just go out in the actual street area. So right here on both sides of the median, where it transitions from 2-lane to 1-lane and vice versa, I'm putting down some lines here. And this is where, on this side that I'm working on now, you see me put down these safety rails. I'm actually using those as, steel fence. I'm actually using those as bike racks. And I know usually those are more, closer to an actual building and not kind of in the middle of the street. Not the safest thing, but it's Animal Crossing. We're playing pretend. So this is just kind of a transition area, like I said, going from that 2-lane road down to 1. And I wanted to make a little area where people could park their scooters and motorcycles and bikes and whatnot. I did initially put down 2 different colors of that fence just to kind of see which one worked better, and I ended up with the silver one. Alright, so we're going back closer to resident services, and I'm moving those trees back. I wanted to do something with that kind of wide inset there. So I'm putting down the Turkey Day stand, and I moved the trees back just to kind of frame those so they're not directly behind each other. Okay, so on the other side of the median, I am putting down the new steel trash cans in blue, and I, as you can see, I put a USPS code on those cans to make them look like mailboxes. So the idea is you drive down and you can drive up to the mailboxes, drop off your mail, and merge back into traffic and keep going. So I put down a couple of cars, just the illusion of, some movement. And I've also got those crosswalk signals. I'm still not 100% sure about those. They're still there, but I might take them down. And that's kind of another thing. I do change my mind quite a bit. So there might be some things that will change between now and the final tour of the island. So don't get too attached to anything you see. If you do have any suggestions for anything you see, if it just really doesn't work in your mind, or if you see something that could work better, feel free to let me know. I would be more than happy to take those into account and make any necessary changes that will look good for the island. So here I'm just kind of adjusting some things. I'm centering those light posts in between the trees behind them, and just kind of seeing how everything looks. So now we've moved on to a night view. I wanted to see how everything looked with all of the lights and how bright they were and all that good stuff. On those Turkey Day stands, I wanted to do something with a kind of a light feature, so I went with the holiday candles. That did change, so don't get attached to those. Behind that, I did the bubble machines. I actually have one of each color back there now. I just wanted to see what it would look like, and I actually only had one of each color. I did buy another white one, as you can see here, but I ended up changing them to black. I thought the black matched in a little better, so those have changed. Here is where I go into fixing all of the trees behind resident services, that little area I was talking about earlier. I'm putting hedges in between all the trees. So in that space back there, that's just going to be some hedges. Then we've got Agent S back there, just kind of sitting under a tree, in the way a little bit, so we'll have to come back to that area. But again, just putting down hedges, kind of filling in those spaces. And let's see, there were some areas that I couldn't get to from the front, so I had to remove some fencing and go at it from a different angle, so that's fine, but that's what I'm doing here. And eventually I'm going to, let's see, so we're going to fill all that in, and that's pretty much going to be it for what I did for this build. I moved Agent S out of the way so I could get that last spot in there. Filling back in the fencing that I removed. And here we go. So I am completely finished. Again, some of these things have changed, but nothing major, and I'll show you everything that changed later on. But just walking from the airport, you have your sidewalk here leading down to some beach access. There's the median there with the motorcycle and bike parking. Up further, that's our other one-way street and our entrance into resident services. You can see Alice back there exercising, and I think Croak is in there beside her, and Barreled. So we've got our bubble machine there, and I think it's cute. I mean, it works for me. It's very simple. This island is probably not going to be anything flashy, but it works. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this little speed build here. Again, if you see something that you think would look good, be sure to let me know. But other than that, that is it. Thanks so much for watching. Please give this video a like, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks again. Bye!